Hey guys, how are you? I'm Pastor Sean Strickland here with my super cute husband, Pastor Edwin Strickland, for Relationships 101. And I got to tell you something, guys. We really need your help. We have been so busy that neither one of us remembered to promote Relationships 101.
We talked about it in the announcements, but we didn't do our normal promotion.
And so we need your help. So we need you to, if you know people who are normally here, if you could help us share, like more than your normal stuff, because we just totally dropped the ball.
I had people calling me, asking me if we were doing it tonight. And I was like, yeah, of course we are.
Of course we are. And I said, here's the thing. We have gotten busy enough now that we're going to have to designate somebody else to do the advertising for it, because we just don't remember all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing to have things to do. It's not a good thing to not remember the thing to remember to share it, because we prepared for it, but we didn't.
And I think a lot of people got used to seeing the event being up. They got used to being tagged in it. And so when we didn't do it, life happens and they got busy, we got busy. And now it's the second Tuesday of March. We didn't do February. And so we just need your help to just help share the word, let people know that Relationships 101 is live right now. So share, and like. I've liked it. I've shared it. My wife is liking it and sharing it. So we need you to go ahead and hit those heart buttons if you can. Hit those, hit that thumbs up button. The numbers are going up slowly but surely. But we're going to have a good time tonight, no matter what.
We're going to have a good time, and we'll do better. We'll do a lot better next month.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do a lot better next
I
month.
even wrote it down. If I write it down, it gets done. If I don't write it down, I can't promise you that it's going to get done. But if I write it down,
you and Noah's list.
I love my list.
I was
I
gonna
get
say
things done on my list.
I was gonna say, what's up, Unika? What's up, Don? What's up, Kim? Listen, we appreciate this. We're in here and we're gonna get started in just a few minutes. We're gonna get started in just a few. She ain't shaking along. Like,
I'm trying to shake my hand. My watch told me to stand up, but I couldn't stand up right now. That's right, AB. Lists are awesome.
Lists are awesome.
We get things done when we put it down.
We do, but I was thinking that like we literally are so busy. I'm so ready for vacation. We haven't seen each other all day until I saw you when I was coming back into the neighborhood when you were going on a walk.
Yep.
And then we like hung out with Kana for a few minutes and then we had to get over here. And so, but I think that really ties in with what we want to talk about today, because there are seasons where we're talking about the power of synergy, and there are just seasons where things aren't the same. And one of the things that I think we have gotten really good at doing is not taking it out on each other when things aren't the same, finding a way to create win-win. So that's what we want to talk to you about tonight. And we appreciate you guys sharing, because we can see those numbers going up and we appreciate it. But we want to talk to you about basically, you know, how you balance individual wants with relational needs, how you navigate different seasons. The truth of it is that any relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a marriage, I was just thinking about this. Unika and I have been playing catch up, and I literally, believe it or not, have only talked to Unika twice since my event, right? So she's had a lot going on because she's doing some really big high profile things. I've had a lot going on. So we literally had to make a list to be able to talk about the things that we want to talk about. And that is part of what we're talking about in this synergy. She wants to talk about things, I want to talk about things. So we had to divide it up in phone calls. We still aren't really done. But in relationships, nobody always gets to be the center. Nobody always gets to be number one, right?
Yep.
And so we have to work together in order to create healthy relationships, because what we don't want is somebody feeling like they're always giving in.
Yep.
Right. And then the other person doesn't even, most of the time when somebody is with somebody who's always giving in, they think that person is doing it because they want to do it. Right. And they don't realize that the person is doing it in order to keep the peace or something like that. And then the person explodes. They end up, you know, it seems like the person who's getting everything isn't grateful. And it can just create so many toxic issues that we hope to be able to help people work through.
Yeah. One of the things that we often talk about is whenever it comes to relationships, it takes two people or more to make that relationship work.
Two or more. Absolutely.
It absolutely.
Not in the way y'all might be thinking.
I'm not sure how they were thinking. I'm thinking that if you're in a family relationship, it takes the kids, the mom, the dad, the uncles, the brothers, the sisters. So I'm not sure what that was about, but anyway, it takes people to make relationship works. It cannot be one person's way all the time. And so part of what we're going to be talking about, and you guys continue to share, continue to invite people in. I see the numbers continually going up. They'll pop in here. When they do, they can listen to the replay. But one of the things we're going to talk about today is this idea about synergy. Now, when we talk about synergy, it is so easy, I think, sometimes to use the word compromise because it's the word that so many people understand. But when we talk about compromise, it always leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth, so to speak, because compromise, it implies that somebody is having to give up something, or both parties are having to give up something, and both people come out with something, but it's not the thing they wanted. And so years ago, we got away from the word compromise, but you might hear us use it tonight, but we're only using it so that you understand what we're talking about. We use in our relationship the word synergy. And when we talk about synergy, I'm going to actually read this definition as we get started. Synergy is basically the interaction or the cooperation of two or more individuals or organizations or substances or other agents that come together to produce, and here's the key, a combined effect greater than the sum of their separate effects, right? So it's not that you and I come together and you want this and I want this. I make you give up something, I give up something, and we come out with something that is really less than what we both wanted. What we want to do is we want to find ways to create win-win scenarios.
Absolutely.
But in that, we also are not naive to believe that there is not a science to learning how to do it, and that there are challenges in learning how to do it in a relationship, especially depending on the people you're in relationship with, whether that is a romantic relationship, whether that is a familiar relationship, whether that is a work relationship, or friendship. I was talking to a couple people the other day, and I was saying one of the things that is so interesting, I'll use that word, in today's time is you see people are not having long-lasting friendships anymore. It really used to be that most of the people you met, they had a lot of long-term relationships. But now it's almost like people pride themselves on not having long-term relationships, and that's both men and women. And I guess especially some of our younger people who I get a chance to talk to sometimes. And I think part of it is people don't learn the things we used to learn in kindergarten, which is that everything can't be your way. With social media, everybody believes everything is their way. They believe they're right. They believe it's their way. If not, I'm cutting you off. I'm going to keep my circle small, no new friends. And as a result, I think it really is hindering our society's ability to maintain constructive relationships. And in doing so, I think it hinders people from being able to make those deep connections that they need for lifelong fulfillment. You talked the other day, you might want to talk about it, about this it's not a pandemic, but it's right now, I guess it's an epidemic that the United States is experiencing with loneliness. Well, if you run everybody away from you, out of your circle and out of your relationship, because you don't have the emotional intelligence to build synergy with people, well, no wonder you're lonely.
Well, I used to say all the time at the end of the year, I would say if every year you need to get new friends, the problem is you.
Yeah.
Like if every year, if you're and if you think about it, if we've somehow created a generation of people who don't want new friends, right?
Yep.
Cut off their family and cut off friends, I'm not sure how they could be anything else but lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it feels a little bit to me like that people have a fantasy about relationships,
Mm-hmm.
even friendships, right?
Yep.
Even family relationships. And it's really like, and obviously we're never advocating that people should just be out here taking anything, putting up with anything. But the truth of it is that if you're going to do life with anybody, any length of time, you better learn how to work through things.
Yeah.
And if you have a me only mentality, my way or the highway, it's going to be very difficult for you to work through things, right?
Yep.
If you're not a person who uses some of the other language that we've talked about, setting up boundaries, being able to have crucial conversations, it's going to be very difficult for you to have healthy relationships. How many of you have ever been in a situation where you felt like you were giving the best that you had, but you weren't getting something in return?
Yeah, I think everybody can say that.
I think the truth of it is everybody can say, but I want to see in the comments if you've ever felt like, man, I'm out here and I'm giving it the best that I can. I'm giving you everything, and you don't feel like you're getting that much back. And then I wonder when you talk to that person, because I feel like we had times early in our relationship where we both would be feeling like we were giving it all 110% and the other person wasn't satisfied. And it was like, number one, you're not giving this person what they actually want. You're giving this person what you want. You haven't come to synergy. You're frustrated because you're trying to operate from compromise, because supposedly compromise is supposed to be this altruistic, noble thing until you get sick of doing it.
Yeah.
And then you resent the people that you're doing it for.
I think a part of it too is that when you are involved in relationships, whether that's, again, a romantic relationship, a family relationship, a work relationship, any kind of relationship. One of the most dangerous things I think you can do is start to have a running scorecard. Okay, having a running scorecard on what have you done for me lately. That doesn't mean that we don't believe in reciprocation, because we absolutely do. But this idea of, I did this, now you got to do this, is a dangerous place to be in. Because one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is, how do you prioritize your partner's needs? When I say partner, I don't just mean romantic. I mean, how do you prioritize your kids' needs over your needs? How do you prioritize your friends' needs over your needs? How do you prioritize other people's needs over your needs when that requires you to step out of your comfort zone? Because it's easy, let's be honest, it's easy for you to give me what I need when it's easy for you to give it. It's easy for me to give you what I need when it's easy for me to give you, when it's easy for me to do it. It becomes this situation with this power of synergy about how am I as a person willing to step out of my comfort zone to make sure the people I'm in relationship are getting what they need when it's not the easiest thing for me to do. Because I think a lot of relationships go great when it's easy. Whether that's a work relationship, whether that's a family relationship, whether that's a marriage, it goes easy when I can give you what you need because it's easy for me to do it. But what about when it's difficult for me to do it?
I think that's really good, but you already have a question up front.
Okay, what's the question?
Victoria asked a question. She said, how do you balance the idea of seasonal relationships against what you just said about long-term relationships, i.e. some relationships may just be for a season? Like, what if the relationship just ran its course?
Yeah.
Are you going to answer?
You
Okay.
can if you want to answer.
So I actually think that one of the mistakes that people make in relationships is that from the onset, people just like each other and they don't have a conversation about what the relationship is actually supposed to be.
I agree.
And I think the reason that our relationship went somewhere comes from the onset. We didn't guess about what it was that we were doing.
Yep.
Right. I think the reason I have such a good relationship with Yanika is because we don't guess about what it is that we're doing. And so I think that sometimes people just like each other or they have something in common. But for me personally, every year I'm evaluating my relationships. And when I'm starting new relationships, I want to have clear communications about what it is that we expect. Because while I do think that there are some relationships that run their course, I think that there are more relationships that end up being cut off because either we never should have been in them, or number two, we did not steward them well. And so I think that we want to do a better job on the front end. And if you have relationships now, your kids, your best friends, whoever, you should ask them, let's talk about our relationship. Is our relationship in a good place? Where do you see this? What do we need to work on in this relationship? And I think that sometimes that people who aren't married or aren't romantic don't necessarily think about that there may be things about you that get on your people's nerves. There may be things you need to work on.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think another key to that is sometimes I think we use the phrase, we have people in our life for a reason, we have people in our life for a season, we have people in our life for a lifetime, right? I think the reality of it is that most people, like you said, come into relationship because they have something in common and they like each other until they don't. The relationship doesn't actually run its course. People don't tend to have the skills to navigate the difficulty in relationships. So I liked you until you did something I didn't like. You liked me until you did something I didn't like. Or we kept doing something long enough until we found no usefulness for each other. And then we blame it on the fact that it's run its course, because everybody all the time doesn't lack the emotional maturity necessary to have those kind of crucial conversations to be able to maintain long-term relationships. And so what happens is they run afoul. So it's not that the relationship runs its course. Most of the time it runs afoul. And because it runs afoul, we don't know how to navigate it and put that ship back in the water so we can keep going down the road, down the river.
But let me tell you something that I learned from you about relationships
Mhm.
and that I think destroys a lot of relationships. And I'd really like to hear, especially from the women on this right here. So one of the things that you taught me about relationships is that I was not being a good friend to give people the benefit of the doubt. And what I mean by that is
I
that,
was gonna
like,
explain that a little more to them.
okay, what I mean by that is that somebody that you love does something to you.
Yep.
And you don't address it because you just go, I know they didn't mean that.
Mhm.
Well, here's kind of the problem. When they've now done it 6 times and
Or
you've
60.
never, or 60, and you've never addressed it with them, you are really building a case against them that they don't know is being built.
Mhm.
So then typically you think you're being this noble, wonderful person by not addressing it. And what you're really doing is setting yourself up to destroy the relationship without the person knowing why. Because if I have stepped on your foot for the last month
Yep.
and you didn't say anything, and then you click on me for stepping on your foot, that seems super unfair. And then I don't know where it's coming from because you didn't say anything, but you feel like you were being such a great person by not saying anything. And I think that so many times the person who considers themselves taking the high road
Mhm.
is actually largely responsible for the destruction of the relationship.
Yeah, because you cannot resolve what has not been stated.
Well,
You cannot resolve what has not been stated. If what I'm doing is bothering you or bothering a teammate or bothering someone I'm in a relationship with in any matter, my family or whatever, this idea that I'm supposed to be able to read someone else's mind and know what I need to change is just not fair.
it's just not
It's
fair.
not fair to the relationship.
It's not fair.
And sometimes people say things like, well, I mentioned it to him 10 times. No, you hinted around.
Well,
But you hinting around is not the same thing as telling someone that what they're doing is problematic. And what happens is we live in such a culture that people spend so much time with their niceties that when someone actually tells someone that what they did bothers them, we get called a bully. People like me get called a bully, or we get called mean or insensitive. I'm not mean or insensitive to tell you that I do not like your behavior toward me. In fact, what I'm trying to do is to preserve the opportunity for us to continue this relationship. Because if I don't say anything and I keep harboring it, at some point I'm going to explode on you and you're going to not know why I did that. And so that's why I say to you that it's not being years ago, I said to you, it's not being a good friend when you just try to take the high road every time. Being nice is not the same thing as being a friend.
well, I'm gonna say this. Being nice is not the same thing as being kind.
Right, that's true too.
Being nice is not the same thing as being kind. A lot of what women have been conditioned to do
Mhm.
is to be nice. Being nice is not being kind.
Right.
Being kind is caring enough about you to try to do something preemptively
Yes.
to stop the relationship from being destroyed.
Yes.
That, and I think that a lot of times women, and I think the thing that I love, I don't know if y'all heard this in what he said. He didn't just say, I don't like when you do this. He said, I don't like when you do this. And if you continue to do this, it's going to cause me to explode on you. And you are going to be upset because you are not going to understand. And it is going to destroy our relationship. Most people are not communicating that clearly.
Yeah, and that's not a communication to threaten. That's
It's
not.
not.
That's not a scare tactic. It is a here is why I want to address this now because it happened, and I am giving you the benefit of the doubt in the sense that I don't think you intentionally did it, which is why I'm bringing it up because I'm assuming you did it. Now, if you tell me you did it, then that's a different conversation. But if you tell me, if I address it and you say, "Oh, that wasn't my intent," then I've let you know what you have done to have wronged me, and we can talk about the corrections that need to be made. And once people have had those conversations, those relationships tend to be long lasting. They don't run their course or run afoul. Why? Because we are communicating in such a way that we don't allow those external things to cause us not to share mutually the things that made us friends in the first place.
Well, and I think a lot of times we think that because we talk a lot, we're actually communicating.
Yeah.
But if you go back to the message, the teaching we did on communication, that is really, it's like, it's not communication until it's understood, right? It has to be understood. Now, I'm going to use this is a great opportunity about synergy, and it's not about marriage. It's actually about me, you, and Canaan. Okay. So listen, everybody knows this, that we have these two dogs. And the second dog was not a dog that Edwin wanted, except the truth of it is that we didn't actually think that he meant no.
Even though I communicated no. I don't know how many ways you can say no, but you guys didn't think that my no was a no.
Well, let's be honest.
Okay.
Before this issue, you used to say no a lot, and you didn't really mean it. No was just your first response. Strick, would you do no? Dad, would you do no? So we have created a dance in our family where at least me and Canaan don't necessarily think that your first no is actually real.
Okay, tell a story, because I said no multiple times about the second dog. But go ahead. I even said no about the first one, but then then relented. But I said absolutely not about the second dog.
Here's the whole point.
Even put it in text message.
I didn't believe that you meant it. I did not believe that you meant it until we got the dog. And you looked at me one day and you said, I just had no idea that you would be dumb enough to get this second dog. At that point, I went, oh, he really, I said to Canaan, I said, oh, he really meant that. But we got the dog now. So anyway, let's be honest. You are an acts of service person.
I am.
And so you naturally do things. And what Canaan and I can both do is kind of take for granted the things that you do. And so
for granted that I will do them. Right? If y'all don't do it, I will do it. No
lies told.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
And the thing I'm trying to teach Canaan that she hasn't fully come into yet is that there has to be a lot of humility with you, and you got it,
baby. But your daughter don't have it. Your youngest daughter doesn't
have it yet.
She will literally do that thing right there and then get an attitude with me.
Yes. Okay. So this is a great example of what happened the other day. So the other day, we all were out of the house. Typically, our dogs are out all the time when we're home until it's time to go to bed.
We hardly ever crate them
until it's time to go to bed. Well, what ended up happening is that we all had stuff to do when we were gone, but Canaan and I both got home before Strick did. Canaan got home first, I got home second, and neither one of us went down and took the dogs out. That would have been fine on normal occasions, except when Edwin finally went down to take the dogs out.
I got home and went down, yeah.
One of them had peed in the crate.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Now listen, when he came up them stairs, I started putting on my humility garment, baby, because I already knew, and I already like that you'll do anything for us. But what you needed us to do is to do the things you ask us to do, and to have a lot of humility and gratitude when we didn't do what you asked us to do, and something happened and you got to clean up the mess.
Especially about them dogs,
because those are our dogs.
Y'all wanted those.
Those are our dogs. Except for the record, they do like you better than they like
me better because I've been the one doing a lot of stuff for them. But they're still y'all dogs. Y'all got those dogs.
Anyway, so Edwin cleans up the crate, takes the dog out. I say, I'm sorry, but baby, let me tell you what I know. What I know is we about to get a text message. What I know is we about to get a text message. At this time, Canaan doesn't feel well, so she sleeps.
She sleep on the couch.
Baby, listen, he sent that text message It about this long.
It was.
It about this long. He was like, listen here, I just got to get this off my chest. First of all, he takes us back to the origin story. I told y'all not to get this second dog. And I don't mind helping out with these dogs. I take them to the vet. I do most of this. I do most of this. I do most
I
of this.
listed everything
You
that
listed-
y'all don't do.
You listed everything that we don't do consistently.
Mhm.
It's not that we don't ever do it.
Y'all don't take the dogs to the vet. Y'all don't take the dogs.
I've
to
taken
get-
the dogs to the vet a couple times.
You went with me.
And me and Kanan have taken the dogs to the vet. Okay. Because that's the no, that's
Okay.
then y'all, the next time I take the dogs to the vet, I'm gonna take
you
a
can
picture
get up in the morning.
and
She
put
gotta,
it.
she gotta
No,
go at 8:30 in the morning.
not in the morning.
She gotta go at 8:30 in the morning. You can
Not in the morning.
listen. You can go
In the
ahead
mor-
and take
In
the
the morning, I
dog
already.
in the
I
morning.
got Pilates.
right.
Okay.
You got Pilates.
Anyway, he writes us this long
She gotta
message.
be at 8:30. It's a 30-minute drive.
I got-
You can get that crate from downstairs, put it in the back of the truck, and take that dog on to the vet in the morning.
No, I want you to just do what
You
was
better,
already.
you better get some of that humility.
I want you to do what was already in your heart to do.
Right,
Okay?
right.
Uh-uh.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So he's written this long message, and I'm like, listen, you better answer this message real carefully.
I know. I can tell by the way she responded to me that you must have told her because
Baby.
that's not her regular way to
Baby.
respond.
Baby, you
I was
talking
waiting
about all
on
that
her.
stuff. I said, I apologize.
Yeah,
I will do better.
because you know that's
You-
my apology language. If you tell me you sorry and you'll do better, even if you don't mean it, that works for me. But I need to hear I'm sorry.
I apologize. I will do better. Now we've been doing better this week too, though.
Y'all have.
We've been
Y'all
on it
have.
this
Y'all
week,
have.
right?
Y'all have.
But baby, let me tell you something. I went in there. Listen, Ron said you took us back to that old landmark. Baby, listen. Honey, I went in there. I nudged Kanan. I said, when you wake up, your dad sent a text message. All you need to say is you will do better. All I want you to say in there is you
I can
will
tell by
do,
her text message it was your language. It
will
wasn't hers.
do better.
Because she
'Cause
started off by saying, I'm sorry. And that's not something you
Baby, I'm trying to train them up in the way they should go. But listen here, the whole point is that is something that for you, it has been a compromise about in having the dogs because you
Mhm.
certainly didn't want the second dog,
Right.
right? And then we have to, I think that what happens sometimes, and I think this is a good lesson for somebody who does it, because I want to talk to the people like me.
Okay.
Is that because the person is who's compromising is having such a good attitude about it, you forget
Mm-hmm.
that that's not what they want to do, that they are only doing it because they love you. And then you start being reckless and mismanaging the
Mhm.
sacrifice that they're making for you. Is that what was happening?
That's exactly right. Because what that does is it starts to demonstrate a lack of respect.
Mm.
Because it's like, okay, yes, I take the dogs to the vet. Yes, I take them to boarding. Yes, I go get their food. Yes, I take them out. Yes, I clean up their mess if they make one. Yes, I feed them. All of these things. But I'm not necessarily doing that because of the dogs. I am doing that because it demonstrates my love for you and for Kanan. It's your dogs, and I'm helping you take care of them. But as you said, when you don't think about the win-win of it, and I'm not saying that you guys intentionally did it to be selfish, but when you just start thinking about in terms of, oh, I'm home, I don't have to think about the dogs because when dad gets home, he'll take them out. I don't have to walk downstairs. I don't have to get up and get them food. I don't have to take them to get a bath. I don't have to take them to get their shots. I don't have to take them to boarding. He'll do that. And it can become this thing where you, if you're not careful in any relationship, not just about the dogs, you can get in a pattern of expecting someone to do something without realizing that what they're doing is actually for you.
And you're not showing the proper gratitude
Right.
and appreciation
Mhm.
because once again, you have confused the actions of the person with them wanting to do it
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to them doing it because they love you. Does anybody else want to say ouch up in here? Rhonda said she feel like her husband put y'all up for this show. No, but I think that I think that the truth of it is that if we can't see
Mm-hmm.
that we are sometimes this person,
Mhm.
there's sometimes you're
Right.
sometimes the me in
Yep,
this,
yep,
right?
yep.
That it is
And
not
I've been the me in this.
right. That it is not always that you are doing the best for the other person.
Mhm.
It is that sometimes you are taking advantage of how someone else loves you, and you're not even being gracious about it, which is making them feel like you're taking advantage of them.
Mhm.
So then if you had said, well, y'all got the dogs yourself,
Mhm.
then in truth, we'd have felt like you did us wrong.
Mhm.
But in truth, we actually would have deserved that for how we mismanaged your health.
Yeah. But and I think one of the keys to
Do you think I learned my lesson?
I do, because
Okay.
y'all did much better this week. And I don't
Amen.
mind
Amen.
helping the dog. And in reality, I can honestly say, because I thought back about it, because I thought about the way I sent the message. I didn't want to fly off the handle.
Listen, wait, hold on.
Because I started my
Listen, hold on. These wives, Yolanda said, I'm about to go apologize just in case. I'm telling you, some of y'all need to go get some apology in just in case, because I think that that's really important. Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I was just saying that I even in the midst of sending the message to both of you, I wanted it to be clear that I was not sending it in anger, but that I was sending it because, again, in relationships, if we don't communicate appropriately, then we don't have the right to expect something. And it had gotten to the point for me where I was like, okay, I'm ready to have a conversation about rehoming the dogs. And I know that that's not what you want. I know that's not what she wants. But if we're going to continue down this road, rehoming may be an option. And so before y'all come home and the dogs are gone, I owe it to the relationship to say, hey, here's where we are. And here's why I am in this relationship. Because that would have created a bunch of other emotions. But understand that when you can step back and see things from that perspective,
you made me a little teary then, like you can't be talking about.
It helps to build trust.
Ooh, child. It's
Listen,
hot in here.
I know you love those little dogs, and I want you to keep those big dogs. But when you start to build trust, building synergy builds trust in a relationship. Because what synergy says is, hey, I am willing to do this for you because I know that there are things you are willing to do for me. And when you begin to mutually have that kind of reciprocation between each other, it builds relationships. Nobody in any relationship should always be the taker, and nobody should always be the giver.
But I think that I think you're making a good point here, because I think that sometimes the reason we don't like the word compromise is that a lot of times in compromise, we don't feel like we're being respected. That
Absolutely.
The reason we like synergy.
Because synergy is about win-win.
Because synergy is win-win.
Yes.
And you're like, I'm willing to do this for you guys, but don't disrespect me in it.
Synergy promotes equity.
Synergy promotes equity.
Not that everything has to be equal. We're not talking about equality. We're talking about equity, right? Because it's like, people have seen probably the image before where they have there's an image that people use all the time to talk about the difference between equal and equity. And it's a little bitty boy, a taller boy, and a really tall boy. And they are looking at a baseball game over a fence. And if something was equal, they would give them each a box of the same height. But the box you give to the little bitty boy may not still be big enough for him to even see over the fence. But when we talk about equality, we're talking about giving people what they need so that everybody has access. And so when I talk about, that's why I say you don't want to get into a tit for tat trying to keep score, but you do expect there to be equality. There should be some equality. Do I expect you to go downstairs and pick up that heavy crate and bring it up the hill and put it in the back of my car? No. Do I expect you to take the dogs to go get groomed? No. Do I expect you to have to take them to the vet at 8:30 in the morning? No, I don't expect you to have to do that. But equality says that if I'm not home and you come home, rather than sitting down watching Netflix, you take the dogs out first. That's a form of equality that I think can be expected in relationships. And who knows? Maybe I didn't make that clear that was a priority. So when it happened, that's why I made that a priority to say, hey, here's my expectation. I shouldn't be gone and you and Kanan are home and the dogs pee in the crate. Especially when we don't crate them.
I'm gonna be a better person.
You already have been.
No,
we just helping the people.
I'm gonna be a better person.
Crystal said, now you smiling again.
I'm gonna be a better person. Right. But I think this. I think that when you have a partner or a friend that is naturally acts of service,
Mm-hmm.
or you have a partner or a friend that is naturally a giver,
Yep.
I think you have to be intentional
about
not
just being a taker.
being a taker.
Yes.
And just receiving the acts of service.
Yes.
And I think that one of the things that can be so easy to do, because number one, you're so orderly, you got these lists, you do things so well, and you enjoy doing them, right? It can be so easy to just expect it and not say, what can I add back? But because in the grand scheme of things, that, like, I do want to clarify, I wasn't watching Netflix. I was actually working. Okay. I actually went into my office to work, but I still should have taken the dogs down. But what you can do is we don't want to take the people that are good to us for granted.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you getting something from that? We don't want to take them for granted. We don't want to make them feel that we don't respect what they do for us.
Absolutely.
We don't want to so normalize it. We don't want to so normalize. I don't want to so normalize how good you are to me that it seems like I'm a brat.
Right.
That it seems like I'm entitled.
Right.
And it's just like if you have kids and you've been able to do more for your kids than you had growing up. Here's the thing. You can't expect your kids to know lack the way you lack, the way you knew lack.
If they've never known
lack. But you do expect them to be thankful for what you can do,
yes.
what you can do for
yes.
them, right?
Yes.
And I think that we have to be, he likes this stuff so much, he's named everything that needs to be done for the dogs, even though they weren't for him. And again, that is where the confusion comes. The confusion comes is that I have to remember you do that because you love me, not because you love those dogs so much.
Right. And
so
a prime example would be being in a relationship, a friendship with somebody, right? And you like getting your face beat, right? And the person who beats your face, maybe they're good at it, but maybe they don't actually even enjoy doing it. They just do it for you because you like it. And so then you get to the place where you start to think that this is a thing that they like to do so much. And so because they like to do it so much, I let them beat my face. It's like, no, they actually beat your face because you're the one who like makeup. That person would choose never to do that again if they didn't have to. And I think we just have to be careful, like you said, that you don't take what somebody is doing for you as entitled. You know, I say all the time, and I know that we differ a little bit about our language on this, but I say all the time, nobody owes you anything. Now, you say, yeah, there are some people who do owe you some things, and I get that. There are. But in general terms, I operate from the standpoint that nobody owes me anything, so that way my expectation doesn't ever become this thing where I expected you to do it and you didn't do it. If I've communicated it and we're in a relationship, we can talk about those things. But I just think it's important because one of the things that synergy seems to do, and you talked about this a little bit, you didn't use these terms, but synergy fosters adaptability. When we decide to work together to make it a win-win, I'm adaptable to you. You become adaptable to me. I'm adaptable to taking the dogs to the vet. I'm adaptable to those other things. I'm adaptable for cooking. There are some days I love to cook. You know I do, but there are some days I don't feel like it. I didn't really want to cook last night. But when I said to you, I came home from my 6-mile walk and you was like, hey, save me some of whatever you're cooking. And I said to you, what?
I'm not cooking.
And you looked like what?
I looked stunned.
You looked stunned and sad.
Just stunned.
And I said, you look stunned and sad.
Just stunned.
Stunned wouldn't have made me go cook. You look stunned and sad. And I was like, well, you're going to get on this call. You're going to be on Inner Circle. You're going to be on Inner Circle dark. You're going to be on Inner Circle after dark. You're going to be Inner Circle early morning. I was like, it may be 1 o'clock before you come to bed. I don't know why I should go through and cook all this only for it to be cold. And I said, but you know what? Sean wants dinner. And I have the ability to cook her dinner. So what am I going to do? Even though I had some other things I wanted to do, I'm going to go in there and cook her dinner. So I went in and I cooked you dinner. And then my obligation was to communicate to you that it was ready and that I would like for you to eat it before it got cold so that it wouldn't be cold. And you got off the phone and came. But it was about communication. It was this idea of adaptability.
I just want to say
all of us adapt when we have true relationship. All of us do.
I just want to say this. I really feel like I should be a better person.
I mean, you can step up a little bit if you want to.
I feel like I should.
You can step up a little bit.
I feel like I should.
But you do great. You do great. You do a lot of wonderful things. Absolutely.
I feel like I'm a little spoiled.
You are, but that's my fault. That's my fault. And whenever it goes above the board, I'll send a text message. But until then, just keep doing you. Just keep being you.
And I cleaned up too. I didn't just eat my food. I cleaned up.
You did?
I cleaned up.
Did.
I feel like
we're talking about the power of synergy.
You talking about what you talking about. I'm talking about my own.
There's power in synergy.
I'm talking about my own life right here.
Win-wins over here. Somebody said you are definitely spoiled. Somebody said they feel real spoiled.
You want to say
why I'm still on this line.
Right. No, I did. I hung up so quick. I said, "Hey, my husband cooked for me. I gotta go."
I know. When I sent you the message, you came out pretty quick. I was shocked.
I got on. I said, because I didn't think.
And I'm glad you did, because here's the thing, and I can say this, right?
Oh Lord!
No, I can say this because it's important to understand this. If you had said, "Okay, I'm on my way out," and you didn't come out for another hour or two, I know, me personally, that would have felt disrespectful. And the reason I say that, it would have felt disrespectful, and I would have communicated with you, because I'd have been like, you acted like you wanted me to cook, but when I had decided I wasn't, but then I did cook for you, then you did not do what was necessary to come and enjoy the fruits of my labor for you. And I think sometimes people don't think about that because they get in the mode of just doing their own thing. And I was so glad. I was actually really glad that when I sent you the message and said, "Hey, the food is ready. I would like for you to come and eat it before it gets cold." It wasn't 2 minutes. And you was like, "Hey," you came out the room, and I was like, "Oh, cool."
The only reason it went fast is because somebody was in the middle of telling a story, and I had to let them get to a stopping point.
But it worked out. It worked out.
But I think that this is such a good lesson. How many of you can see yourself on either side of us? Like, you could be like, "Oh, I can see how I do some Sean Strickland stuff, or I can see how I can do some Edward Strickland stuff." But this is what
I say it like this: sometimes you're the nail, and sometimes you're the hammer. I've been the nail, you've been the nail. You've been the hammer, I've been the hammer. And sometimes we get struck, but sometimes we're the one doing the hitting. And so we've all been the nail, we've all been the hammer sometimes.
Yeah, I think that this is just really good, because it's interesting, because, a lot of people always say that they would like to come and hang out with us for a long period of time. But remember when Crystal and Lemoyne were at our house, and she was like, y'all discuss everything.
We do.
And y'all use scripture to do it, right? And you use scripture to do it, right? And I think that it is, I also think that, because I think that what our relationship helps me do is really to have some humility, and to realize, and to be willing to admit that I'm the one who messed up. And like, typically, if we're talking about a task and it was me. It was me. Everybody knows it. It was me, right? And so then I think it makes me a lot more, I try to be a lot more gracious to you in the areas of things that I don't think you're as strong on that I am.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be as gracious to be like, listen, he put up with a lot. But I think a lot of people aren't honest to say this. We say this all the time, like you're laughing and you super dope. There's no doubt about it. But one of the things that we laugh about is that it would be hard for anybody else to live with either one of us.
Yes, I agree with that.
It would be hard
I
for anybody to live with either one of us. And I think that sometimes what we do in relationships is that we forget that we can also be the difficult one to live with.
Oh man,
too.
you can say that again. Listen, if you can be honest tonight, it's almost 90 of you on here. If you can be honest and say that you know that in your relationship, not just romantic, but in any relationship you've ever been in, that there have been times that you have been the difficult one, you ought to put a 7 in the comment section. You ought to type the number 7. I could probably put 777,777. I have been the difficult one in the relationship before. And the truth of the matter is that when you realize that, it gives you this perspective of why we believe that it's so important for people to think about, how do I create synergy in my relationships?
Yes.
Because there are some tangible benefits.
There are some benefits to synergy.
And in fact, while you're putting 7 in the conflict, 7 in the comments, I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. The psychological benefits, because we talked about relationships running their course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all because of emotion. That's all because of feelings. It's because of behaviors. And so there are 5 absolute benefits. 5 absolute benefits. I know some of you guys are typers out there. And so if you want to type them in the comments, you can. But there are 5 benefits for reaching synergy in a relationship, regardless of whether that's a romantic relationship, a parent-child relationship, a sibling relationship, work relationships, church relationships, whatever relationships involved with other people, there are these benefits. When you strive to reach synergy, you can be assured that what will happen, number one, is there will be reduced conflict. Doesn't mean there won't be any. But I think sometimes people think the word conflict, we got over this years ago, we don't think conflict's a bad word. We embrace conflict. Conflict allows Edwin and Sean to live at a higher level.
Absolutely.
Because whatever conflict shows up, when we address it and we tackle it, we get to now stand on top of it. That conflict doesn't come back and get us again. And so when you are building synergy, what you are doing is you are creating opportunities for reduced conflict. Because the more I understand you, the more I know how to deal with you. The more you understand me, the more you know how to deal with me. I knew that if I had sent you guys a text message screaming and yelling about everything I had done, that would not have had the same impact, and I would have not got the same result had I sent the message the way I sent it.
Let me say this.
Because I know about you.
Let me say this, okay? I want to be clear.
That you would have responded the same way?
I would have responded the same way, because the Bible says what man goes to war without counting up the cost.
Right.
And what I wasn't finna do, you got to be old enough to even know this saying.
But again, that's because you know me well enough.
What I wasn't about to do is write a check with my mouth that my behind could not cash.
Because y'all would have been sad when y'all came home and the dogs were gone.
No, because before the dogs would have been gone, you just would have been like, those your dogs.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
That's
those
true.
are your
That's
dogs.
True.
And what don't nobody in our family want
true.
is for Edwin Strickland to be like, figure it out.
Yeah.
That ain't
That's
what
true.
you want.
That's
so
true.
you could have
before they got to you're right.
Now your kid might not have passed that.
Right.
But baby, for whatever you had sent on that message, I was gonna say the same thing. I apologize. I'll do better. Baby, I apologize. I'll do better.
Yeah.
Right.
So reduce conflict is
reduce conflict, right?
Yep.
And number 2, it has increased satisfaction.
It does increase.
And I'll say this, one of the things that I love about the synergy in our relationship is that things that it used to take us so long to work through.
Yes.
It just don't even take that long.
Some of the stuff don't even come up anymore.
It doesn't even come. But the stuff that does come up, like that issue, like you, it was funny because I happened to be, you know what? I was on the staff meeting with them when it happened.
No, you were sitting in the chair when I came home. I don't know
Yes.
what you were doing before
Yeah,
that.
and then I was on the staff meeting when you came back up
Mm.
when we're doing it. And I said to them, I said, oh, he not happy with me. And then when you walked past, I smiled at you and you ain't
I
smiled
did not
back.
smile back.
You
I
didn't
saw you
smile
smile.
back.
I did not smile back. I
And
sure did not.
I
I did
said,
not.
I said,
It wasn't smiling time.
no,
then.
no. I said, let's meet a little longer.
So you want to stay in there?
I said, don't, let's not hang up here. Let's keep talking because I gotta figure out how worked up he is and what I got to do to get back in his good graces. But then let me tell you something. That I can't even get mad. Canaan is me in this instance because after I do this and I know that you are aggravated, right?
Yep.
I say, do you want to make fish sandwiches?
Did you ask me that? Did you?
And you
I don't
And
even
you-
remember that.
and you so nice. You said if you go get the stuff, I'll do it.
Was that the same night I
That
made
was
I cooked for you that same night? Girl, see, I used to be a grudge holder, but you done worked all that out of me because I wouldn't have made you no fish sandwich for a week. But you done got all the grudge holding out of me.
I'm gonna be a better person. Ooh,
Was that the same night
it was last Tuesday.
when you got those nice buns from Harps and all
It
that
was
stuff? Was
Tuesday. It was a
Hmm.
week ago.
Okay.
So it reduces conflict
Yep.
and increase satisfaction because we both get over things a lot
Yep,
faster.
there you go.
We get over things. And let me tell you why I think sometimes people don't get over things. If you don't feel like you're ever getting a win in it,
Yeah.
then it's hard to get over.
Yeah.
But we've tried to create scenarios where, yes, I blew it, I messed up, I took responsibility, but also you know that there are things that I'm going to do for you, and I'm going to extend that same grace to you.
It was the I apologize, I'll do better. Once that happened, everything was out the window. That's why I probably didn't care about cooking. Because to me, listen, and now y'all talk me trying to use that against me, but that is my apology language. If you will apologize for what you did wrong, if you will make the determination that you're going to do better, even if you don't intend to, if I start to see you doing better, then that's really all I need. I don't need you to give me a long soliloquy about how you're going to do it. Just tell me you're sorry. Tell me you're going to do better, and then let's move forward. And if you don't do better, then I'll address it again. But that's I didn't even think about really, and I hadn't even thought about it after that very much. Except for when y'all say, "Am I doing better?" I'm like, "Yes, y'all are doing better. We're good. Let's move on." Because it does. Because saying that to me. Because you were looking for the win-win. The win-win was I made a mistake. I'm asking you to forgive me. I'm telling you I'm going to do better. Now, that increased the satisfaction for me of having the dollars in the house because I know I'm not the one who's going to have to do everything. As it increases my satisfaction, then I want to increase your satisfaction. So you say, well, will you cook me the fish sandwich? Well, of course I'll fix you the fish sandwich. That increases your satisfaction. You increase mine. Overall, what does that do? Number 3, it improves our conflict resolution skills. We have learned how to deal with conflict. We reduce it by always wanting to practice synergy, right? But we improve it because we are always looking for the win-win in the situation.
Hold on a second, because I gotta say this. So Kim said it's words of affirmation. Am I doing better? No. In this situation, I am words of affirmation with him, but this is not words of affirmation. This is more like boot camp, drill sergeant, and I need to know that we have passed the test and we are out of danger. That is something. It is.
What's the question?
When she said, when I said, am I doing better?
Oh.
Me and Kanan not asking, are we doing better? Because we want you to affirm our good work.
Oh, right.
We are asking, are we doing better to ensure?
You want to know whether or not you can stay in this class or whether you need to go drop.
Right.
Or whether you need to go drop this class.
We need to drop this class right here, right?
Is there any possibility that you can pass this class?
We're trying to figure out how much extra credit work we need to do in order to be able to get.
Right.
Yes, but I just wanted to clear that up. That this is not one of those, oh, do you think I'm cute? This is one of those, Are we meeting the
Right.
the appropriate
Right.
standards up in here? Right? No, can't you right. Krista ain't even lying. Can you make me a fish sandwich? Is code for are we good now?
Because we there's been times where we have been into it about something, and we'll be like, I'm going to the kitchen. You want some water? Yeah, if you go in there. Or are you hungry? That is code for hey, let's
Let me
get
check
back,
it
let's get back.
Your
to it.
thing that you do to me is you try to make me laugh.
Yeah.
You know, if I won't laugh, because I'll pretty much laugh at you about anything, and then I'm just like, I'm not laughing right now, Evan.
Yeah.
Right? Mary says,
Yeah.
what if you say you are going to do better and your husband doesn't believe you because you do it again or something similar? I'll let you answer that because that's probably
it depends on your husband, right? And here's what I mean. There are a bunch of different apology languages. We've talked about this before, and if it's new for you, I would encourage you to Google it, and you and your husband take the apology language test. Because some people, they don't need this idea that I'm going to do better. They don't even need to hear you apologize. But there are other people who need a very detailed list. There's like 4 or 5 different apology languages. I think the other part of that is if you're going to be a person of integrity and you say that you're going to do better, then you ought to do better. Or you shouldn't say that. You know, say something like, I apologize. I know you don't like it when I do that. I'm probably going to do it again, but I'll try to do better.
Just at me next time. You're just up in here telling me people my business. I can't even hardly stand you. You're just up in here telling me.
Say something like that. You gotta
so
say something like that.
You are so wrong.
But if
hurry up so we can go and get off this thing tonight.
If you intend not to do better, then don't even use that language. And again, it depends on your husband's apology language. So you just got to figure that out.
Well, I do think it depends on how serious the infraction is, right?
Yes.
And how much it means to the
Yes.
person, right?
Yes.
Because
and how much inconvenience you not doing better puts on the other person, because then it comes off as selfish. And eventually, even the nicest of person, even the kindest of person will get sick and tired of being the whipping post. They'll get tired of being the punching bag. They'll get tired of being the one who always ends up holding the short end of the straw. And so you just have to make sure that you don't push that limit to that place. And people have done that before, and then they'd be like, oh my God, I don't know why they asked me for a divorce. Well, because the last 3 years they've been telling you they weren't happy with the way you've been treating them. But you just kept saying you would do better, but you never did better. You know what I mean? So we got
the same apology language, me and Tawanda.
Oh, it's ownership of the offense of wrongdoing. I need to know you are aware of what you are apologizing for. Oh man, listen. And if you are in relationship, I don't care if it's a friendship, romantic, work, whatever, with a person who is like Miss Cole or Miss Strickland over here, and they need you to be aware of what you are apologizing for, you should not even attempt to apologize until you can articulate what you did, why it was wrong, what you can do to stop it from next time, and then how you are going to fix what you have done. They need to know that. What are you? I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I'll do better. It's not going to be good enough. And here's the thing about synergy, right? That's good enough for me. I can't be like, because it's good enough for me, it has to be good enough for you.
That's right.
And I think that's a really key point here. Just because your apology language is your apology language, you can't then thrust that upon everybody else and say, well, all I needed for you to do is to say you were sorry. Other people need to know what you're going to do to fix it. Are you aware why you were wrong?
Because you don't care if we're actually going to do better. I
need to hear you admit that you were wrong, that you blew it, that you say it, whether you mean it or not, it come out of your mouth that you accept the responsibility. That is what I need. What you need is, if I blow it, what do you need me to do?
I need you to acknowledge it, but I don't need you to tell me that you're sorry.
Right.
I don't care nothing about you being sorry.
What you need instead is what?
I want you to tell me what you did.
Yep.
I want you to tell me how it
How we
impacted
got here.
how we got
Yep.
here.
Do I
I
know
want-
how it impacted you?
I want you to tell me what you gonna do
Yep.
so that we don't end up here again.
Yep.
That's what I want to know.
And me, I don't. If you start to tell me all that stuff, I'm like, no.
You do.
no.
You say, no.
Just say you're sorry.
It ain't go away. Just say
I
you're
don't want to
sorry.
hear all the rest of that stuff. But just because that's me, I don't have the right to put that on you. So we create win-wins by saying, what do you need? When I mess up, what do you need? When you say, when I mess up, what do you need? And we've built that. And now that we understand that, our relationship not going to run afoul. It's not going to run its course. I know what you need. You know what I need. And when you give people in the relationship what they need, even if it's outside of your comfort zone, you are working to steady that relationship.
And I just feel like that growing up, these are not skills we learned or we saw. If you grew up in a family where you saw these things negotiated, you are tremendously blessed, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So what we have tried to do, the reason we do Relationships 101, the reasons that we try to be really transparent is because I feel like that unraveling a good relationship is like trying to bake something without the recipe.
Mm.
And yeah, you can get there, but how many misses do you have getting there, right? So we try to say to you, not because we want your relationship to be like ours.
Mm-mm.
We just think more relationships could be happy and healthy if people had the skills.
Yep.
And if we had gone on into this marriage with the skills, there is a lot of mistakes and injuries that we would not have done to each other and had to get over.
And
right?
and praise God for healing wounds, right?
Absolutely.
But our desire is to help give people tools so they create less wounds that need to be healed in their relationship.
Absolutely. So it's reduced conflict.
Yep.
It's increased satisfaction. It's improved conflict resolution. Number 4, it is stress reduction.
Reduces the amount of stress in
It
relationships.
is stress reduction.
It's enough stress in the world. You don't need stress with your friends. You don't need stress with your family. You don't need stress with your spouse. It's enough stress going on in the world that we can learn to create this synergistic energy so that when we are in relationships with one another, we're not creating unnecessary stress. You're my wife. I shouldn't have to be walking around on eggshells when we're communicating. And likewise, vice versa. And the same thing with our friends and family members. A good friend should be able to speak to you with integrity and honesty. And you should know them well enough to know where it comes from, even if it's not something you like to hear.
Even if it's not something you like to hear, right?
Yeah.
And then 5, which is the whole goal of this, is a better sense of partnership.
Yeah, better sense of partnership.
Relationships work because we feel like there is partnership.
Yeah.
So those are our 5 things. As we get ready to get out of here, we want to know what is your biggest what's your takeaway from this? I want to know what's your takeaway, and then my second question is, what can you apply? Right?
Yeah, Victoria had a good point. And I think one of the things that we tried to do early on, though, was to show our kids it's okay to say you're sorry when you make a mistake, even if you're an adult. But older generations didn't do that.
So it's really interesting because I was going to push back on her, but then she said it. I think that's also kind of the challenge when we lump everything together with everybody. My grandmother apologized to me. The adults in my life, when they did something that injured me, they apologized to me. So it's always, and I'm not saying that everybody did. I just
we know everybody's not monolithic.
But I think that when we start talking generational, that people say Gen X does this or Gen Z does this or whatever the case may be. But that just wasn't my experience. My grandmother was incredibly patient.
I think in reality, in any situation, there are outliers. We talk about a bell-shaped curve. The reason you have a bell-shaped curve is because you have something that is 1 or 2 standard deviations away from the mean. What's in the mean is the majority. I think when people say things like Gen X or the kids who played outside and didn't have supervision, that wasn't every Gen X kid, but it was a whole lot of Gen X kids. And so the reality of it is, it may not have been your experience. There was a lot of people, I believe, though, who And again,
No adults apologize to you.
I
when
didn't
you
say
was a
no
kid.
adults, but I do think it's different. Your grandmother raised you, not your mom. That's a different generation.
Okay, that's fair, but
I think a lot of people in our parents' generation did not have historically the presence, emotional intelligence, or aptitude to tell little kids they were sorry when they made a mistake. And I don't mean that they like bump into you and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry." No. I mean, I know for a fact I got whooping sometimes for something I didn't do. I'm not saying I should have deserved it for something else, but I got whooping for things I didn't do. And when they was found out, it was like, well, you know you had done something. The idea of adults saying to a kid, listen, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. I lost my temper. You know, I shouldn't have popped you in the backseat of that car like that.
You should have been popped.
All of
I done heard the story. No, you should have been popped.
There were times I should have been, but there were times I shouldn't have been. And the times I shouldn't have been, you know, I think that's true. There's a lot of people who didn't apologize. And there's actually books being written about it now, where people are talking about how adults need to be able to say to younger kids, I made a mistake. It wasn't a good idea when I did X, Y, and Z. And I think that people a little older than us didn't always understand how helpful that was.
Okay, I'm gonna let y'all have it.
It's not everybody.
No,
Everybody's experience is absolutely different.
Listen, I'm okay to be on the outside of the bill.
Said Kurt. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, now see Duke out here trying to start something. Ooh. I only received apologies from the men in my life, not the women. You know what, Duke? Oh
no, and that's his experience.
No, I'm just messing with him. I'm just messing with him. I think that's probably yeah.
It is interesting because I grew up. My mom was a single mom. My dad obviously lived really close, so I saw him all the time. But I for practical purposes, I grew up in a single parent home. My mom was our caregiver for me and my brother. My mom had lots of sisters. My dad had lots of sisters. I grew up around a lot of ladies. And so my experience is not unlike Duke's. I didn't get a lot of apologies from women. I also am very self-aware. I was a demon child, so to speak. I had a lot of things that I probably should have been popped and hit for that I wasn't popped and hit for. So I ain't complaining.
I want to apologize to Duke and to Edwin on behalf of all of the women who owed you an apology and never gave it to you, because I want you to know that women do apologize.
Oh, absolutely.
And women, we out here looking bad, right? So we got to do better with this apology.
No apology,
right?
But a lot of food.
No. Keidron, I apologize to you too for every woman who owed you an apology and has not apologized, because what we gonna do is fix this.
Here, baby, here, pecan pie. I want you to say sorry for popping me on my leg when I wasn't the one who dropped that dish.
I feel like we've gone into another topic here. I feel like this is another topic.
Don't give me no pecan pie.
Edwin, Nietzsche says she's sending you a virtual hug.
I know,
right?
I know.
Okay, so we hope you got something from it. We hope that you can apply. No, women apologize, right? Listen, we apologize. I apologize on behalf of the boomers. I'm not a boomer, but we apologize. We, the female delegation, we apologize. We apologize, and we are so sorry that you did not receive the apologies that you deserved as you were growing up. And I'm laughing about it, but I actually am being serious about it, because that can impact how you live. How you can live life.
Absolutely.
So I like what Mia said. We, the female delegation, we
on behalf of the male delegation, we accept this apology on this date, be it 8:10 p.m. Central Standard Time, Tuesday, March 12th.
Maybe we can start to heal.
Maybe we can start to heal some men women relationships, right? If you got two whoopings back. This dude said 1994. How old is he? We was married in 19. We were. You know we older than them.
Oh,
don't be telling anybody our age.
Everybody know we 52. We have parties.
Well, they do now.
Okay, listen. What are you doing next month?
For
Relationships 101.
We're gonna come back and talk.
No, you told me you was doing something.
Oh, yeah.
You told me
yeah.
you was doing something because I'm not even sure. I'm telling you what he's doing next week. I'm not even. I mean, next month. I'm not even sure that I'm going to.
Before you click off, you may want to join, even if it's not you. Because here's what I'm going to do for the month of April. Okay, here's what I'm going to do for the month of April. Everybody, take a deep breath. The singles have been asking for it. Okay, and I've been trying to figure out how to do it, and I think I've gotten it down. I've reached out to a couple people who I believe are very level-headed, who sees things from both the female and male perspective. I got at least one good guy and at least one good girl, and they're going to come and we're going to talk about the state of dating in 2024. The state of dating. The things that are happening, not just the stuff we read about, but what's really going on out there. The singles are like, we know you talk about relationships in general, but we want a session just for us. So I'm going to advertise it. I'm going to put it out there. If you are single, I expect you to be back here and bring all your single friends. We're going to have a way for you to submit some questions beforehand that we can get answered. We'll use the comment section like this to talk about some things, but we're going to talk about things like this, like why is there an expectation nowadays for men to pay for what some may believe as these extravagant first dates? Is that appropriate? We're going to talk about, how men should approach ladies if they're thinking about dating. All these questions that all these singles ask me that I sometimes don't have a clue because I've been married, as my wife said, since 94. We're going to put them on the table. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about when people date and they get together, why this idea in 2024 that a single income may not be the way to go just because your grandpa could go to work and grandma could stay at home. With the way the economy has happened, the number of women who's entered the workforce, what that has done to change things. We're going to talk about all of those things in the month of April and try to really get them on the table. So Passion says she don't even know if she said she just may be sitting to the side in the comment section because we're going to talk about some pretty deep things because I've had people sending me stuff. I've been asking, I've been talking to them.
I don't want to be a distraction to the work y'all doing.
It's going to be for singles. And I'm not saying we're going to answer
some of those questions. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm gonna be in the back and work out comment section for you. So
some of them are tough questions, but I think they're legit. We're going to answer the question to some degree. Why in the world would a man want to get married in 2024? Why would a man want to get married? There are some who believe that marriage really doesn't benefit men. And we'll talk about some of that. And we'll talk about how that relates to how men approach dating, how women are approaching dating. And the two people I've asked to be on here with me are really solid people, and I respect their viewpoints. And so we're going to talk about it. That'll be the month of April. I got a lot of work still to do. So much so that I had almost forgot I was working on that for April. That's the plan. It may be May. I'm going to try to shoot for April, but I got to get it right.
In the next 2 months, you're going to do it, is what you're saying.
Yes, because I got it, but I got to get it right because we have one shot to really get it so that we don't leave people just along the sideways because it was too chaotic to deal through.
Well, I just, want to say for me, any single men who may be wondering why they should get a wife. The research actually says that married men have a longer life expectancy. So true. I just want to add that to as you are considering that it is to your own benefit to have a good wife because a good wife will help you live longer.
That is true. There is some idea, though.
I'm talking about what the research says.
The research says that men who live longer, if they don't stay married, tend to be worse off financially. So there's a lot of things we'll talk about. And this is why I wanted her to be with me, because really it's going to be pretty good. We happily married, but I share some of the ideas that I see among young men. When my son, who are in their 20s,
Tell him, Lemoyne.
Tell
when
me.
you find a good wife,
Yep.
you obtain favor from the Lord.
Well, you do.
It's a favor don't even belong to single men.
Amen.
You gotta get you a wife.
You gotta get you a wife. That's right.
You don't want me on there. I'm be so churchy. Oh, I'm be so churchy. You don't want me on there.
Listen. We're gonna come back and talk about it though, because I'll be honest with you. When I hear when I hear a young woman, and I know this isn't everybody, but when I hear a young woman who is between the ages of 22 and 30, okay, and she says that she only wants to date a man who is 6'2", makes at least $100,000 a year, doesn't have any children, and has his own car, owns his own house, and a side business. I just want to say to them, there's nothing wrong with that. But do you know what percentage of men that is? And if every woman is looking for that, then even if you find him, my next question is, why would he want you? And I just be having questions. If he's 6'2", he make $100,000 or more a year.
Here we go.
No student loan debt.
Here we go.
He got his own house, his own car. He ain't got no kids. Basically, the brother ain't got no baggage. Why does he want you, ma'am? Because we know what he brings to the table. But what you bring to the table? You say, well, I'm fine. I look good. Any man who's not living for God, who has all of that, can have as many women as he wants. And so I just think we got to have this conversation that everybody needs their expectations reset. Your grandma used to say it like this: you need to date your
equal. And
I think we need to get back to people understanding they're equal. I think social media has made people think that there's, listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 is in the middle. People act like being a 5 is bad. It's like you got to be a 9 or a 10. Everybody not a 9 or a 10. If you're a 5 and get you a 6, you're doing something. And so we're going to come back and talk about it. You're right, Tina. It is going to be, if it goes the way I want it to go and I get the right people involved, I like to have 4 of them. I got 2 right now. It's going to be an epic conversation.
I do think there is a lot of delusion on both sides.
Oh, I agree.
I think there's a lot of delusion on
Yes,
both
ma'am.
sides.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think the delusion not only comes from social media, but I think the delusion also comes from reality shows. Because I think reality shows, I don't think it's just social media. Most of us
are I think it's social. I think of reality shows like that too.
No,
yeah,
I think it's I think reality shows created a perspective, because I think here's the difference. When we were growing up, our parents may have watched soap operas, but we knew soap operas were actors. Yeah. And I think the disconnect for people is that people haven't always necessarily recognized that reality TV shows, that they are acting as well. Yeah. And so they think that it's a real, it is very
well, we know how powerful that is. You and I both love the Huxtables. We wanted a family like we wanted a big family like the Huxtables. That had an impact on the fact that we got married. We wanted to be professionals. We wanted to stay married, and we wanted to have kids. So now it's not the Huxtables, it's Paradise Island or something else out there.
So it's going to be very interesting, and we're going to it may be made before you get to it.
It may be made.
The truth of it is that, like, if you did a part 2, I might would come, but I probably wouldn't come to the part 1, just because I really would like to sit back and hear what both sides, what the man and the woman have,
without us interjecting. Because I'm just going to facilitate. I'm really not going to interject that first one.
Now I think the part 2 we could come back and we could talk about the different things that people said, right? But I really think that there is a lot of unrealistic expectation on the side of both men and women about what it takes to have relationships work. And I think that when people come to relationships with those levels of misunderstandings, all they can do is have chaos.
I agree.
Well, we thank y'all for hanging out.
Yep.
Sabrina said dating be whooping her tail. I think it's
I think it's different. So
this is what I am gonna say before women go. This is what I am gonna say because I ain't gonna be there.
I knew you were gonna say
no.
something.
I was gonna say this. I think that one of the things. This is no shade, but one of the things that I believe, since we're talking about things that we believe, okay, I believe that Black women have an unhealthy loyalty to Black men. And
I'm gonna give you that Umar Johnson look,
right?
That Dr. Umar look.
And I
come on, my queen.
And I believe that one of the things that has put Black women at a disadvantage is that many Black women will not even consider a man outside of they won't consider a man that's not a Black man. And one of the things, now I'm not trying to be shady or bust you out, but you used to date white women.
Whoa,
no,
time out. Time out.
No, hold on.
Wait, how you gonna say you're not trying to bust me out?
No.
Bust me out.
I didn't bust you out, but I want you to talk about this.
I don't want to talk about this.
No, but why did you date white women? You said because Black women.
I dated white.
When you were in high school,
I was in high
you said that Black women, because you said the dark skinned dude wasn't. Just say it.
Yeah, the reality of it is that until New Jack City, everybody had to be Elder Barge. If you wasn't Elder Barge, Black women didn't think you were cute. It was Wesley Snipes in New Jack City to put the Dark Brothers
Changed your whole life.
Changed my whole life.
But before
then, I wasn't the person that Black girls were. I mean, it wasn't like how we had a whole bunch, but the ones they did have, I was like their big brother. And I got tired of being the big brother. So instead of being the big brother, I became somebody's boo.
And what I'm saying to you is that Black men are a lot more likely to say, oh, y'all not feeling me?
Yeah.
I'm going to go and be with somebody who's feeling me, as opposed to trying to get someone to feel you who isn't.
Yep.
And I feel like that Black women have this very, very unhealthy allegiance. And here's the thing. I get being down for our Black brothers. I think everybody know that I am a super pro Black woman. But I am telling you that if I was a single Black woman, and Black men were not giving me any vibes, and white men, Hispanic men, whoever kind of man they were, I'm gonna date who want to date me instead of begging somebody or trying to stay out here hoping you go pick me. I'm not finna be a pick me. I'm not begging you to pick me. And I think that because I think that Black women many Black women have so fantasized what it is like to have a relationship with a Black man, that they are willing to take a Black man who don't even really want them over a man of another race who does.
Well, I guess y'all figured out what the June podcast is going to be about.
We can go in 2 minutes because it'll be 90 minutes. Sometimes we go for 2 hours. But I'm just saying, if you are a Black woman out here and you want to be married, right? And there is a nice white man.
Ninja said we done begging. Still the girl got a Black man.
Yeah.
But no, I get it though.
but think about this. When we go on most trips to Secrets.
Oh, absolutely.
When we go on most trips to Secrets.
Out of the country, yeah.
Out of the country. When we go there, we are one of the few. I am one of the few Black women with a Black man.
That's true.
Them Black women be with all kind of rainbow men. Them men be opening the door for them, catering to them, loving on them. And I just don't understand. Now, people who know me they gonna be like, I can't believe you said this. I don't understand why you would be so tied to the color of somebody's skin that you would rather be with somebody who don't want you or be alone than be open to somebody who loves you well. Because the reality of it is that I fundamentally believe that women deserve to be loved well.
I do.
So I want you. So if you happen to be white and you love me well, I'm gonna let you love me well instead of begging a Black man to get it together for me. Yeah. If you think I'm too fat, if you think my hair too short, if you think I got too much weave and you don't like my baby hair, it is somebody named Jim who will take me on up to Sally's and get me to jail to put my baby hairs down. I'm just gonna be with who love me. I'm not finna be out here begging nobody to pick me.
Maybe you should do a relationship 101 about why don't y'all like other races or something. I don't know.
Because I think
strong about that.
I think black women are at the advantage because Yolanda said black men have no problem with variety. There are a few black men that will not.
Dr. Uba.
If we did a survey, we could find a few black men that have never dated anything other than black women. But most black women won't even consider a black
because
man.
If you did a poll like that, and we gotta go, but if you did a poll like that, black men, even if they say, well, I have never dated a white woman, okay, but have you dated an Asian woman? Have you dated a Pacific Islander? Have you dated a Hispanic woman? Have you a woman of mixed race? That is probably going to get you a broad yes, because men, for the most part, have been taught and learned to go where you are appreciated, not where you're tolerated.
Where black women, I think, still have some of that slave mentality, like we go keep the whole family together. We go keep it together. They don't even want to be in the family with you.
That shit would be a militant millie.
You can be militant with a white man, but whatever. We'll end with this. Every woman.
This may be your April. It may have to give me time to get May together.
Every woman deserves to be loved well.
I agree.
And you don't just deserve to be loved, ladies. You deserve to be loved well.
I agree.
The first part of this conversation was about how well you love me.
Yeah.
Our issues are not really about how I'm doing all this for you and you ain't coming through for me. Right. Because at the end of the day, you love Sean Strickland well.
Yeah.
And I believe every woman needs to be married to a man who she has to apologize to about the dogs than a man who expects her to work and take out the dogs. Now, that's what I believe. Should he be black, yellow, green, got polka dots on him, I wouldn't care. And I think that black women don't always open themselves up to be loved well. And I think that because they don't, that black women don't even always notice when men of other races are trying to get their attention.
What should they look for? We're going to come back in April. I think we got our April talking. That'll give me a little more time to work on my May thing for the singles. But I think we got a good topic for April. We'll see how we can weave and work this in here. I might just sit back in the comment section for May. I mean for April.
No, I just wish black women would be open. It makes me sad to see the number of amazing black women I know who aren't being loved well. And their years are passing by. And it's because they're in their vision. They're so committed to a black man who's not committed to them. And you deserve better.
What's that saying you say? You need to be something flexible in your...
You need to be committed to your outcome, flexible in your approach.
So you should be committed to an outcome of having a man who loves you well, but flexible maybe in what suit he's wrapped up in.
Facts.
All right.
Well, this was nice, y'all.
This has been fun.
Yolanda says she finna go in here and practice her apology because, see, the other thing too, the reason I be apologizing in the street, because I know ain't nobody gonna put up with this. And y'all be talking about what it's like out here in the, baby, I'm not child. Lord help me.
That's why I be accepting your apology too. Ain't nobody gonna put up with all this over here.
We hope y'all got something out of tonight's class. We'd love if you would share it with somebody. And we'll see you again real soon next month.
April, our next Relationships 101, just in case you want to write it down, I will advertise it. I don't know what it's going to be about yet, but it's going to be on April the 9th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will make sure that I do an event and I tag those of you who came to this one and to the other ones in that event so you can set your calendars. We love you guys. Have a great night, and we will see you later.